Good evening everyone, and welcome to this new and Old Malden Neighbourhood Committee. My name is Alice Aubrey, a member of the Democratic Services team at Kingston Council. Before we move on to the main business this evening, we will start with the appointment of Chair for the committee and its planning subcommittee for the municipal year 2025-26. Councillor Henderson has nominated Councillor Heap to serve as Chair. Is that seconded? Thank you, Councillor Thorpe. Are there any other nominations? Lovely. Do we need to go to a vote, or is that agreed? Go to a vote, please. Go to a vote. So the vote on Chair, as Councillor Heap as Chair of the committee and the planning subcommittee, all in favour? Thank you. All against? And abstain? Lovely. Thank you very much. Councillor Heap is in the chair. Thank you very much, Councillor. I pass over to you, Councillor Heap, for the appointment of a Vice Chair and Vice Chair of the Planning Subcommittee.
Thank you, Alice. I nominate Councillor Lynn Henderson to serve as Vice Chair for the municipal year 25-26 for the new and Old Malden Neighbourhood Committee and its subcommittee. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Thorpe, thank you. Are there any other nominations?
I'll be nominating myself, Chair.
Thank you. So we need to go to a formal vote.
Do you have a seconder for your...
Oh, yeah. Seconder for you?
Yes, I'll second that.
Thank you.
So go to a vote first of all for Councillor...
Yeah, so those in favour of Councillor Henderson being Vice Chair? Those in favour?
That's everyone. Thank you. Yeah.
Those against? 2.
Thank you.
And any abstentions? No? Okay.
Should we go to a vote on Councillor Giles?
Well, I said it's substantive because it's passed.
There we are.
Thank you.
Councillor Henderson.
Good. Okay, moving on. Good evening. Welcome to this, the evening, the new and Old Malden Neighbourhood Committee, whether here in person or watching on the webcast. My name is Councillor Leslie Heap and I'm chairing the meeting this evening. In the event of an emergency and the sounding of an alarm, the emergency evacuation procedure is to leave by the main staircase located behind me, okay, and congregate at the front of the building near the car park. Anyone requiring assistance should remain in their seats and an officer will assist you from the building. As a reminder to members of the public, the exit out of the building this evening is via the staircase located through the double doors as you see behind me. Don't go that entrance this side, okay? This meeting is being filmed for live broadcast on the Council's YouTube channel and an archived version will be available to view on the Council's website after the meeting finishes. The broadcast will be suspended during any adjournments in proceedings and if the committee resolves to consider information as exempt business. Please can everyone present in the meeting ensure their mobile phones are on switched off or in silent mode for the duration of the evening. Thank you. So, for those of you who may or may not have been to this meeting before, I'm just going to run round the room and everybody can introduce themselves so you know who everybody is. I've obviously introduced myself, so I'll start with Councillor Thorpe at the end. Thank you.
Councillor Richard Thorpe, Moxford Park and Old Malden East.
Hello, Councillor Andrew Bolton, Coombe Ward.
Hello, Councillor Yvonne Tracy, Green Lane and St James Ward.
And Councillor James Giles, Leader of the Opposition, Green Lane and St James Ward.
Councillor Lynn Henderson, Moxford Park and Old Malden East Ward.
Councillor Mark Durrant from New Malden Village Ward.
Councillor Robert Kim, New Malden Village Ward.
Good evening, Councillor Massimi, Old Malden Ward.
Good evening, it's Councillor Elizabeth Park, Old Malden Ward.
Thank you. We also have a number of officers in attendance this evening to support and give an overview and their reports and advice during the meeting tonight. I'd like to introduce Eunice Hamade, from Highways, Paul Young next to him, who's going to deal with the NSIL applications, and next to him, Ralph Hyde on Neighbourhood Manager, and to my right, Alice Aubrey, who's from Democratic Services. Item number 2 is public questions. Do we have any questions from members of the public this evening, Alice?
Yes, we'll go with this.
This is okay. So this is in relation to the topic on tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. All right then. Excuse my pronunciation, but Natalia Harbinson, have I got that right? Would you like to come forward and ask your question, please? Just come to the desk. Thank you. Hang on a minute. So how long are we going to give them? Just
We have 30 minutes. So.
do we have 30 minutes? Okay.
Are we meant to be
Take a seat
if it's related to the
Yeah,
item?
are we meant to listen to this? It's related to the item later on.
She can ask the question.
Okay.
It's a question.
So although your question is related to the item on the agenda, one of the items on the agenda tonight, if you wish to ask your question. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I live in Barker Close, which is a private road, and I've had quite a few exchanges with Yunus Hamadi over there, and basically they put up signs in Barker Close to say that they were going to include a private road in the California Road PPA. They also included Sherfield Close and England Way. And then this went back and forth and we all objected. James and Yvonne supported us. And basically, it's now got to a point where I've issued a level 2 complaint to the council because everybody in those 3 roads were very upset. And the last thing I got back from the council, from Mr. Hamadi over there, is that, no, we weren't going to include these roads in the California Road PPA. We were just seeing if you guys had an issue with traffic dispersion. And I just object to the way we've been treated. We've been sort of gaslighted into thinking that we were nuts, that you weren't including us in the PPA, but actually you put yellow signs in our cul-de-sac. So I'm just raising our objection to the whole way it was handled.
Do you have a question, Natalia?
Yes, will I get a reply to my level 2 complaint eventually? Because that's gone through the system.
I'll let the officer reply to that then.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'm aware of the letter and the notice has been out on the private road. When I brought the report to this committee, the committee approved the introduction of PPA, parking permit area, in California Road area. When we advertise the traffic management order, it's an opportunity which we do invite everybody to comment on it because it could be displacement as a result of the introduction of the scheme. So we did put notices and we did invite. Yes, I have to admit it, and I'm sorry from the private road, I should make it clearer. I didn't make it clearer in my letter. That's not them included, but if they want to be included, they can be included if they wish to be part of it. Yes, it is in my part, and I did apologize, and I sent a reply to your complaint already. I'm surprised you haven't received it, but I already gave them my comment. And we usually send the letters to the private road. The reason for that is because if we introduce the scheme in a public highway, we expect displacement. And that displacement may go to the private road if there is no restriction. So therefore, I'm trying just to make you aware, and yes, I repeat it again and again, I should make it clearer, and I guess that's a lesson learned from me for the future to make my letter clearer to the private road is you're not included, but I want you to be aware if the scheme goes ahead, it could have implication on you. If you want to be included, it's fine, because what I publish is only draft. We didn't make any traffic management order. So that's why we are here tonight to deal with this issue. Then member can decide if a scheme go ahead or not. So I do hope that answered the question, Chair.
Natalia?
I do have a letter with me tonight where...
Sorry, I didn't catch you. You have something with you?
I have a letter with me tonight from the council to list that in a meeting you were going to go ahead with the PPA, and you've listed amongst the roads, the 3 private roads I've mentioned. So really the council, when they do these things, like you've just mentioned, you've got to be clear, and this has caused a lot of stress in those 3 roads because
I
a lot of families
appreciate that. Yeah,
afford the annual parking permit because it starts at one level and then goes up every year, as we've seen in other roads. So that's my only comment. Yeah, I just came here to represent the people in the 3 roads and our anger at being included in it. And it's not really a choice as to whether we are in this parking scheme. For example, Barker Close is run by a housing association that's told you guys, no, you can't do that. So, just be aware next time if you send these letters out, just make it clear for the private roads that you don't have the authority to do that in that private road. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Point taken. Thank you very much indeed. Would you like to return to your seat?
Thank you.
Item 3, petitions. We have received no new petitions. Item 4, apologies. Are there any apologies for absence and any substitute members, Alice?
Apologies have been received from Councillors Andrew Sillett and Councillor Kamala Coogan.
Thank you. Declarations of interest. Members are asked to declare any disclosable pecuniary interests or any other registrable or non-registrable interests relevant to the items on this agenda. Do members have any declarations of interest? Please indicate now. Everybody sure? Good. Okay. Item 6, minutes of the meeting. Do members agree with the minutes of the meeting held on the 6th of March 2025 as a true and correct record? Agreed. Thank you. I shall sign those in due course. Item 7 is response to petition on Idmiston Road. We move on to agenda item 7 regarding the response to a petition submitted to the Council on the 29th of April 2025 in relation to safety concerns at the Malden Road Idmiston Road Junction. The petition received 166 signatures, which was over the threshold for it to be brought to this committee for consideration. We have invited the petition organiser to present the petition in accordance with the previous provisions outlined in the petition scheme of the Council's constitution. A report detailing the officer's response and proposed recommendations is also included in Appendix A, which seeks to address the issues outlined in the petition. So I'd now like to invite the organisers of the petition, Terry Payton and Nusheen Arnold, if I've got those names right, to come forward to the desk and present their petition. You have up to 5 minutes. You can speak half and half, or one person can speak all that time. Alice will let you know when 1 minute is coming, so you've got advance warning of the end. Okay. Thank you very much. Is it? I think it's always turned on, that.
Yes,
yeah.
It looks like it. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Right, first of all, thank you for the late material which we've just got regarding the 30 minutes free parking, possibly Ringo, so that's not going to happen. Just highlight that outside Joanne Chandler's, the restriction is 2 hours there currently, not 1 hour. I don't know much about shampoos and sets, but maybe it's got something to... Yep.
That it's 2 hours...
outside the Joanne Chandler hairdressers, that section, and it's 1 hour further up. So
okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't know if that's for shampoos and set, but that's not something I'm aware of, but you never know.
Ladies do need their time. Right.
Indeed. Right, so thank you very much for noting our petition. Thanks to Ralph as well for attending the location with me, immediately increasing enforcement of the illegally and dangerous parked vehicles and for getting double yellow lines repainted. At least they stand out clearly now, but people are still parking on them, and I still like to push for getting bollards in that location because that would be something, even temporary ones. The previously ignored issues around the safety were brought to my attention by local resident Gary and Nasheen here. I was shocked how dangerous this junction was. In the first few times I was watching there, I saw a child nearly get run over on a bike. I saw another child walk out between cars that were parked on the double yellow lines, nearly get run over. I saw another vehicle reverse up the pavement, out onto the main road. Extremely dangerous manoeuvre, nearly caused an accident on Malden Road. Noting whilst collecting signatures, we witnessed an assault and criminal damage relating to dangerously parked vehicles. This matter is ongoing with the police as well. I'd like to thank the management of Dar El Zard for their support, including newly installed mirrors at their car park and in-store reminders of parking across the road at Miller and Carter, where they currently offer 30 minutes free, and we might be able to get them to go to 45 minutes with luck after we spoke to them. A lot of the rest of what I wanted to talk about was regarding the 30 minutes free that was suggested, but that's now been withdrawn from this meeting. So I'll pass over to Nasheen now.
Yeah.
Speak into the mic, because it's not very loud. Thank you.
Okay. Speaking on behalf of Edmiston and Burford Road, thank you for having us here today to raise critical concerns about the safety and accessibility of Edmiston Road. The arrival of a new supermarket in December 23 brought with it a welcome increase in footfall across Plough Parade. However, Edmiston Road has since seen a sharp rise in traffic, illegal parking, regular blocking of walkways on both sides, and cars doing three-point turns and reversing into oncoming traffic and pedestrians. This has created a daily hazard for hundreds of school children, the elderly, and in fact all users of the Edmiston crossing, creating real fear in the community that a serious accident is inevitable. The situation is particularly concerning given the road's strategic location. It's the only access point for 140 homes on 3 residential streets, sits within around half a mile of 5 schools and 2 preschools, and connects directly to Old Malden's main shopping parade. We appreciate Kingston Council's commitment to proactive traffic management, yet Edmiston Road has not benefited from this approach, nor have we seen a reactive approach since the increase in traffic began 1.5 years ago. Numerous requests for simple safety measures, such as a refreshing of double yellow lines, went unaddressed since complaints began in September 2024. In this 10-month period, resources were instead focused on far less urgent roads in Old Malden. No communication has been sent out to residents in this period. No consultation has taken place with residents or, until a few weeks ago, with business owners. Illegal parking, especially on the corner where Edmiston meets Malden Road, has become a serious concern for drivers. Vehicles parked in this area significantly block drivers' views when they're trying to pull out, and they create a chaotic environment when turning onto Edmiston Road, elevating the risk of accidents to motorists and pedestrians. Beyond safety, this inaction has affected local businesses and strained community cohesion. The arrival of Dar El Zard has revitalised our area and serves an incredibly diverse customer base from Old Malden and far beyond, a testament to how vibrant, inclusive businesses can uplift a local economy and bring people together. However, this has been overshadowed by the Council's lack of decisive action on parking and pedestrian safety, creating frustration and anxiety amongst residents and business owners, driving customers away and creating divisions within our community, even fueling racial tension which could have been avoided. Our goal is a safe, inclusive and thriving community where families can walk without fear, businesses can flourish, and diversity can be celebrated, not contested. I think Terry's covered most of, what we're looking for, but I think some of the outstanding things are to make safe one side of the road with bollards. We've measured this pavement ourselves and believe that would be possible.
Your time is up now. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Right, thank you very much. If you'd like to return to the public gallery, that's great, thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Yunus Jimenez to give his summary of his report on this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. First, I would like to mention about a late material. Sorry, I just put it in your desk at the moment. The variation from this and the previous report, number 2 in the recommendation, it says 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. instead of 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., the previous one. And the second element is about number 4, which is we are no longer introducing 30-minute free parking, then pay after that. we are leaving the situation as it is for now. I think the reason for that, because we will be reviewing all the parking outside all the parade in the borough very soon, and we felt it's better to leave it out at this time than we can review it all together, sort of only do it one bit at a time. So, and the other bit is change is number 3 in the report, which is say 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., sort of 8 till 8. Number 6, about no longer 3 free bays. And number 8, which I add, a parking review will soon include assessment of the parking situation near the shopping parade. So, okay, Chair, this report in front of you is as a result of the petition received. The ward member, vice chair, and chair, they were very active, and they asked officers to act on the petition, because we usually receive the petition, then after that we go and prepare a report and bring it back to this committee for consideration. But the chair and vice chair and ward member, we were adamant it's an issue they like it to be addressed as quickly as possible. So hence this report in front of you is propose some of the changes in the area. I think, as I heard from the petitioners, the issue is about parking on the other side, double parking in Edmiston Road, and abuse of the parking situation. So therefore, if you look to the recommendation, Chair, we are asking first for the disabled bays on Edmiston Road, which is no longer needed. The resident to ask for is no longer live in the area, to be converted into free bays, 1 hour, no return within 1 hour. It will be the same as the rest of the bays, what we have in front of the shops. And secondly, we will be introducing no loading restriction between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. I think it's very important to explain to members and to our residents by introducing no loading, that means the minute the the enforcement officer arrives to the scene, he will issue ticket automatically. He doesn't need to wait 5 minutes to the driver to move their car. So there is no observation for any drivers. Because there is a loading restriction, the ticket will be issued at the spot at the same time straight away. So we are hoping by introducing loading restriction and by increase the enforcement regime in the area, that will address the issue of double parking and will provide safer footway for pedestrians. And the recommendation as well, we are saying for the bays in front of the shops, because we have mixed bay between disabled bay and the free bays, then we have a free bay further down. So we are putting the free bay, the disabled bay, to replace the free bay, and we have the 2 bay together. So this will give better opportunity, because when I was on site, I've realized, unfortunately, some of the disabled drivers, they are very good drivers, but sometimes when they park, they take more than 1 bay at the same time. So therefore, we felt if we can reallocate the disabled bay to the free bay, then we are able to more utilize the 2 bay in the area. And to alleviate the issue of people parking on the tactile paving, we will be putting 2 bollards at each where the tactile paving is. And the shop owner as well, we met him on site and we discussed the issue of visibility sightline. So therefore, he kindly agreed to put mirror in his land, because we don't put mirror on the highways. So anybody reversing from his car park, they are able to see if there is any pedestrian or children on the footway when they are reversing. So Chair, I'm asking members to approve this recommendation. This will be subject to traffic management order. So I'm happy to take any question.
Thank you for your report, Eunice. So any comments or questions from the public? I believe I've got people who have filled out the green slips. I've got Annabelle Horton? Yes? You don't wish to, okay. But you can if you, okay. And Graham and Audrey Tapparell, have I got those names right? Who would also like to speak, I think, on this subject. Thank you very much, Audrey. Take a seat.
Thank you very much. By the way, my husband is disabled and we don't park in two spaces.
Just hang a minute. Yeah, so we're going to keep it, because we've got a lot to get through tonight.
I appreciate that.
We'll put you on 3 minutes. And
I don't think I'll need 3 minutes.
Okay, but 1 minute before then we will tell you you've got 1 minute.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us.
Yeah, just speak into the mic so you're nice and clear.
Okay. I've noticed that in the report here it says that there's a relatively small budget, okay, for Edmondson estate. We've lived there for over 40 years. We've had lots of councillors knock on the door, especially when it comes round to voting. And we've asked several of them on several occasions, what is the budget for Edmondson Square? And no one can ever tell us. So my husband has asked them, okay, if you can't tell us what the budget is now, can you tell us what it was in the last 20 years? And no one has ever been able to answer us. And we feel that we are very much left on the side when it comes to money. In the report we got from the council, it said lots of things would be done. It would be done, but lots couldn't be done because of the budget. We want to know what is the budget for Edmondson Square this year and for the next 5 years. That's it. Okay.
Councillor, Officer Hamadi.
Thank you, Chair. Actually, there is no budget.
That doesn't surprise me.
That's an easy answer.
Let me explain to you how it is. Because when we say there is a budget, every year we put a bid to TfL. So that means every year we bring to this committee here, would they consider a scheme for any area in a road, an area in the borough, and then they will approve a scheme. So therefore, there is no specific budget to a road, but we have a budget which we call it traffic management revenue, which we are able to dip into it for the whole of the neighbourhood, not a lot. It's about £12,000. So we try to dip into it when there is a request for disabled bay, when there is a request for yellow line, when there is a request for a bit of sign here or street name here. So this is what we have for the whole of this neighbourhood. So, and that the members have money as well, so they can use their money if they wish. But anyway, that's a different subject. But for the area itself, I'm afraid there is no money particularly for each road. So if we need to put money for Edmiston, for example, we need to have a case. In order to have a case, we need to take what is the collision, what the accident there, what we're going to do to improve the safety in the road. So if there is nothing for us can address, then we can't put a bid to TfL in order to get money to that. I hope that's answered that question.
So you need an accident to get some money. That's what you're saying? Okay.
It's not me, I'm afraid. That's TfL.
The other thing is, just one thing. Have you ever driven out of Edmondson Road? Well, you want to drive there on a Sunday afternoon, and there is cars parked. I know it's a single yellow line. I know they're allowed to park there, but they park in the Keep Clear sign. Now, when you're coming out of Edmondson Road, they're right across the road, 3 and 4 cars, traffic coming the other way, is unbelievable. Something is going to happen there. Something is going to happen.
Sorry, Chair, if I may, I can assure you, after the implementation of the scheme, we will be reviewing the situation in Edmiston, because it doesn't mean we introduce something, we're going to leave it and go, because we are trying to address it by this way. Then if it works, it's fine. If it is not, what else we need to do in order to make it better? But I can assure you, you will hear more from us after the implementation of the scheme. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Audrey. Thank you for posing your question. The next person I have on my list is Mohammed Al-Sam Mare. Have I got that name correct? Hi, would you like to come forward and pose your question? Thank you. You also have 3 minutes, and when 1 minute from the end, we will advise you. Thank you very much. Thank
Hi
you.
everyone, I'm the owner of Darazad, the supermarket. I just would like to mention with regards to the parking restrictions at the moment being suggested Monday to Saturday, with the Sunday being actually one of our busiest days, it's number 1 or number 2 of the week. So where the restrictions do not apply, that would then allow anyone just to park in front of the supermarket, which will then push people to park illegally if they don't find parking. So can I please suggest that the restriction will be covered Monday to Sunday, 7 days a week? The other thing is with the suggestion of creating 4 parking spaces in Edmiston Road, that is very welcomed. But at the same time, we did discuss with the engineer Eunice and Ralph the possibility of erecting extra parking spaces on the main road, and we did offer to contribute towards the cost. Obviously, if we don't want people to park on Edmiston Road, then that's a suggestion to park on the main road legally. That's the other suggestion. Just one last thing. If we want people to not to park illegally, then we have to create legal parking. And that's it. Thank you.
Eunice, can you address those other points and how we
Thank you.
would amend those? Thank you.
Okay, the first one is about Monday till Sunday. That's within your remit if you wish to extend it. But as I explained to you is the restriction in all the shopping area parade, it's Monday till Saturday. So that means you're only going to be introducing restriction Monday till Sunday outside this particular shop only, because the rest is still Monday till Saturday. So if you want to do that, you can vote and you can make a recommendation. Then we can do traffic management order. Then we can bring here if there is any objection. It is feasible, but that's going to be different than the other part of the parking area. That's my point. The second point about extending the parking bay, we have looked at it and we felt it's not feasible, and I do thank the gentleman for that, for his contribution, but we felt it is not feasible to do so. But we're happy to work with our residents and our businesses in order to see how we can accommodate their need. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. The next question is from Stephen Oates. Have I got that right? Please come forward. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you very much indeed for the opportunity to speak here this evening. I have a myriad of questions. The first one is, when was this report produced and how was it made available to the general public? Next one is, I don't understand how we can look at putting in place 4 parking bays on the parade side of Edmiston Road. There are 3 there currently, plus a double yellow line area which goes over utility hatches, which used to have bollards alongside them, which the council couldn't maintain because of the amount of vehicles that knocked them over. Also, I don't see how then putting bollards on the tactile paving areas is going to reduce anything. How would that also affect the residential property which has a drop-down curve and a dual entrance on the opposite side? I was the resident of Edmiston Square that was assaulted by the driver of an illegally parked vehicle back in March. The lack of response from the council as a whole has been absolutely appalling. The withdrawal of a commitment to meet because there was a petition is absolutely mind-boggling. I appreciate that there has been a response from a number of members of this committee that they have been on site. There has been little or no communication from this council to the residents. It has all been through the residents themselves, which, bearing in mind that we pay council tax, the fact that someone has to be assaulted, murdered by illegal drivers to get any proactive action taken is absolutely criminal. I am at the verge of submitting a freedom of access request to understand just how many enforcement notices have been issued and how many of those have been contested and overturned. The commitment that we received to have enforcement officers stationed out there seems to have been a band-aid over a significant crack. It happened for a couple of weeks. Our children our children are being placed in danger. Our elderly residents are being placed in danger. You cannot get vehicles down that road. You cannot get emergency services down there the vast majority of the time. As a single resident over the 140 odd residences there, plus the 2 blocks of flats, I have taken and submitted hundreds of photos to this council over the last decade, and I appreciate Mr. Hamadi's comments that we go on a rotation basis. In the entire duration that my family and I have lived there, the only work we have ever seen done on Edmiston Square and Edmiston Road is digging it up and replacing things shoddily with no replacement of the marked lines. If the lines have been put down as they were a number of years ago on Edmiston Square, it looked like they were done by somebody who was under the influence of something, because they are so wavy, it's ridiculous. Quite frankly, how the council can accept a vehicle to come and paint double yellow lines and then watch and have vehicles park on those freshly painted double yellow lines and say that this area does not require immediate priority action is, quite frankly, absolutely beyond me. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. I'll have to say I'm sorry to hear of your experiences. I was totally unaware of that, and I think probably quite a few members of the committee were also unaware of your experiences. So apologies for that. My next question is from Barbara Tiptree. Oh, sorry, yes.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, the first one is the report was on the public domain before, and the report, it has had late material. That's why I present it now as a late material, but a report, it was already there. I think you raised a very good point. It's about the 4 bays. You were right, because the bay, where it is at the moment, we have to extend it toward Malden Road in order to be able to have 2 cars, because we have to reduce it, because we can't allow people parking on the BT chamber, because they need to have access at all times. However, having said that, if it is feasible, we'll do it. If it is not, we'll have 3. So the end of the day is, if it is possible, we will. If it is not, we have to do whatever available. We try to accommodate the 4 by remove some of the yellow line and to extend 2 bay further toward Malden Road. And that is the first one. And the second one is...
Please don't shout from the gallery.
The second point is, I fully understand your anger, but you need to bear in mind, we have a lot of restriction in the borough. And if you think about it, I'm sorry, but if you let me finish. If I do attend a lot of meetings where a lot of schools keep telling me, and parents near school, I want traffic enforcement every day here. Well, I can't have every day traffic enforcement at all locations. We have to have a rota, and sometimes we need to move people around. We don't have a lot of money to employ a lot of people, so we need to have with number of people, and we need to move them around in the borough. The same as Edmiston Road, I have other road in the borough. It's important to us. So we deal with all our residents fairly, and we try to be transparent to all of them. And by all means, you want to apply for freedom of information, I think you should. Because I think lately there has been some enforcement, because after I received the incident, we have been asked to send more enforcement and to increase it more, which we did. And as far as I'm aware, there is a number of fines has been issued. But I don't know how many, but by all means, put the freedom of information and you will have all the information you need. And I think by all means. And I'm really sorry to feel that way, but I can assure you we are trying to work with you guys and with the businesses. The end of the day, both of you there, and we need to see what the best way for us at the council to work with you both and to find a solution to address your concern, the shop concern, because we want everybody to be able to live together. So we need to give to each other and balance it. But I can assure you the loading restriction, it will work, and we will ask for more visit. But like I said earlier to the resident, I will be visiting the site again. We'll be reviewing the site again to see what other option, if this is not working, what else we can do. Then we can have some budget for Edmiston Road. Thank you.
Thank you, Eunice. Moving on to Barbara Tiptree, if she would like, she's here, like to come and ask her question or make a comment. Oh, you didn't want to? Sorry? It's been covered. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Annabelle Horton? Just take a seat and just wait a minute. You'll get 3 minutes, okay? And we'll advise you 1 minute before your time is due up. Okay, you may go. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak today. I would just like to... supporting comments that other people have raised, but I'd also like to return to a point made in the petition around the extent of the car parking time around being allowed to have more than half an hour to shop at this particular supermarket because of the wide range of goods that it has, and the customers tend to be cooking from using a wide range of ingredients. And I was particularly wondering whether or not the council has made any approach to the owners of the Miller and Carter car park in order to extend their free current half an hour so that to at least an hour to enable, because there is a perfectly serviceable car park literally across the road from this supermarket, if people were enabled to be able to use it. And half an hour isn't sufficient time to take, to get out of your car, to go to the supermarket, to buy all your goods, and to take back. And this is illustrated by a point that there are currently 3 Dar Azal trolleys in the Miller and Carter car park for people who didn't have time to take their trolleys back in the half an hour they have free. And I think it would be a really fundamental solution to the problem, rather than the nitty-gritty around parking bays and this and that, if people were just allowed to park in this car park for a reasonable length of time to get their shopping without fear of being fined. And that is my question as to what the question is: has the council done anything about this, and will they?
Thank you. I think we have an answer for you. I'm going to pass you to the officer, because we did discuss this when we were viewing the situation at that. So I think Eunice has a...
No, go ahead, Councillor Massimi.
Reply. Oh, Councillor Massimi.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for your comment. I can feel the pain. To answer your question, yes. I spoke to Maida, the new Milan Carter manager, in March. I've met her in 4 occasions, and alongside other residents and my colleague Elizabeth Park, we've asked Miller and Carter to consider trying a pilot with the 45 minutes instead of the 33 minutes currently in place. We also asked for 1 hour. I asked for 1 hour. They say it will not go through. Maida suggested that they might try over the next 3 months that 45 minutes free slots and work with the shop owners to advertise this. But she also was very honest and transparent and say, we are very unlikely, if we go ahead with it, to extend it during the winter season, i.e. from mid-September, October onward, because that's when it becomes busier for them. So there is a consensus that it might happen, but it will, for the time being, not be above 45 minutes and unlikely to be for an ongoing period of time. So I'm afraid this is the only alternative options alongside my colleague that I've been trying to contemplate with other business around. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Eunice, you don't have anything to add to that, no?
I think it's very...
They just disappeared.
It's very important to understand if we're going to use a third party and it's going to be only a limited period of time. We don't want to have that confusion for the people. They can only park between this month and this month, but it is something we can explore. Like I said earlier, we need to go back to the area and we need to review it, and if this is one of the options we need to explore further, let's explore it as well. So let's put everything on the table, but let's at least approve what we have in front of us now and see what's happening and take it from there.
Oh, Councillor Sillett. You appeared from nowhere.
Apologies for being late.
That's all right. We weren't expecting you tonight.
My job finished a little bit early. I've raced down here on a motorbike.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Alice has just asked me to ask you, do you have any declarations of interest?
I have no declarations of interest.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you. So, before we go on to comments from members, I'm going to propose, for the purposes of debate, the recommendations are set out in the late material that was brought forward by the officer tonight. And then we'll make some comments. Does anybody else? I think...
do you want to second it? Oh,
yeah, can I have a second for that? Yeah.
I second that, Chair.
Thank you. I'm bearing in mind what Eunice said about the times. The other shops have a different time. So to change it, we understand where the shopkeeper's coming from, but to change it would make it different in the same row. So we don't feel that that is feasible in this situation. Okay? You don't... Well, if you've got a parade of shops, you can't have... Some are having it Monday to Saturday and some are having it Monday to Sunday. That could be very confusing, I think.
Can I propose an amendment, please, to the recommendations? Given that there is clearly an issue with parking on a Sunday, we've heard from Mohammed, who's the proprietor of Dar Al Zad. Sunday is one of his busiest days. We've heard from the officer that having a different parking restriction there would mean we've got two sets of restrictions along the same street. And so what I'd like to propose is what I think would be a compromise, which is we add an additional recommendation, I call it recommendation 6, which is that a report will come back to this committee on the 7th of October, which is our next committee meeting, with proposals for 7-day per week parking restrictions along the Malden Road. So then we can ensure that A, it gives the officers time to investigate feasibility, and B, at the earliest opportunity then, we're able to consider standardising it for the entire parade. And I'm sure Councillor Tracy will second that.
Yes, I'll second that.
Thank you.
Eunice?
Thank you, Chair. I'm suggesting to add to the recommendation, which is members to approve consultation take place with the shops on including Sundays and resident, and discuss the outcome with the chair, vice chair and ward members, and if there is a support for the scheme, I can move forward with a traffic management order without bringing any item back in October to this committee.
If Alice can word that appropriately in the minutes, I'm happy for the amendment to be worded in the way suggested by the officer. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, because the whole point of doing this was to get the thing moving along, because we're hitting a summer period now and it needs to be resolved. Absolutely. And that's why we brought the report today. No, I'm sorry. Right, okay, so...
Can we clarify if everyone agrees with that amendment?
Yeah, can I just have that everybody agrees with that amendment to be put in the minutes? Yes. For that, yeah? Because it will go out to a TMO and everything, yeah. Okay, fantastic. Right, so now, do any members wish to make any comments on this? And it could be comments and debate at the same time. So it could be questions to Eunice, or it can be just general comments. Councillor Giles.
Thank you, Chair. I want to thank Nosheen, Terry and all of the residents that put together this petition and have come here this evening, and indeed their neighbours, for ensuring that this reached the threshold for debate. Had it not have reached the 150 mark, and just of course got over that, it's a local issue, it would not have automatically been referred here. Frankly, it's ridiculous that it took for a petition to be raised and reach 150 signatures for it to come here in the first place. This is an issue that needn't have come before this committee. It really is common sense. And what stuns me even more is that when this petition went live on the 19th of March, I'll be honest, I didn't pick it up until the 7th of April. I wrote to the officers requesting, as per the petition's request, the maintenance of the diminishing state of the yellow lines at the junction. And even then, after, well, over a week of the petition being live, no other councillor had requested those lines be repainted. And on the 15th, I was told, thank you for raising this with us, we'll look to get it done. Nothing from the ward members, nothing from anyone else, knowing there was a petition circulating. On the other side of the A3, I'm the first person to raise a member inquiry, and so my plea to the rest of the committee is to get on with local issues, because the fact that this has had to come here for bollards, for the repainting of yellow lines, this shouldn't have had to come this far. So while I'm grateful for everyone for doing so, residents pay the highest council tax in London, and I don't think it's unfair to say, demand a basic service for it.
Thank you, Councillor Giles. Anybody else got any comments that they would like to make? No? Yes, by all means.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate Councillor Charles' comment, and I'm not a politician, but I can assure my resident, which is his ward member and the chair and the vice chair, they were insisting on officers to address this issue as quickly as possible. And as I said earlier, if that has been addressed and been asked to bring a report, so the only report we can bring to this committee is on the 7th of October. That is the earliest we can bring the second report. So I'm just saying, ward member did work very hard with me as an officer. I'm just pointing out we're working together in order to address your concern. I don't know if that. Okay, Chair, sorry.
Thank you, Eunice. Thank you for your support. Thank you very much. Right. Any more comments or whatever? Can we go to a vote? Thank you. So I've read out the motion as those in favour, please raise your hands.
Unanimous, Chair.
Unanimous?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Residents are very welcome to stay, but if you don't wish to, please, the exit is, don't go that way, go this way. Okay, so if you want to stay for subsequent items, or you're here for a subsequent item, you're very welcome to stay, but if you're not, then you may go enjoy the rest of your evening at home.
Oh, dear.
Did you get one? Yeah, go on.
So funny.
Just try it that time.
Oh, no, don't worry. Oh. Don't worry, I'll write you a little. I'll write a lot to you, promise. Eunice is worried he's gone over the mark, so don't worry about it.
Who?
Yeah, no, Eunice is worried that he said too much. It doesn't matter. You've got quite No, I mean,
You see, you expedite something for people and they're still not bloody happy. I'll reconvene when everybody's settled. Can you manage there?
Yes, thank
Just, I think the lift works, okay.
California Road, let's go. Right, so speakers on this one as well.
Even when they've been friendly.
Okay, right. So, the next item is number 8, California Road area, proposed permit parking area. So, to consider objections raised in a traffic management order, TMO, with proposals for a permit parking area, PPA, in California Road area and agree a way forward. Eunice, please, would you like to give the summary of your report? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Following the committee approval to the introduction of PPA in California Road, we published the draft traffic management order and we sent a letter to all the residents, including, unfortunately, to the private road, which I should send another letter which make it clear, which I didn't. I should make it clear it is for them to browse it, not to be part of it. But anyway, as a result of this, we received 160, quite high number of objection. I'm afraid I didn't expect to have that much objection. So we have a lot of objection of this is about 168, I believe, the objection received. But the objection is split into 3 areas, Chair.
Yep.
There is objection from the resident who live within California Road itself on the public highway. And there is an objection from the resident who live in the private road. And there is an objection from the people who live outside the scoping area. For example, Kingston Road, including Kingston East. So the development. So the objection in front of you is split into 3. So therefore, there's a clear evidence from the objection received. The resident of California Road, they have support for the scheme and they want the scheme, but there is objection more from the surrounding area, which they feel the scheme, it will not, they don't want the scheme. There is no problem in their road. They don't want to pay for it. They don't have issue. So why they need to have a scheme? Therefore, I am suggesting to members to consider 2 options, which is, we don't recommend only one road to be approved as a PPA. The reason for that is we know there's going to be displacement as a result of that. We've seen it everywhere. The minute we put it in one road, the people, they're going to go to the next road. And so therefore, we are saying instead of having this and wait 2 years, I'm suggesting to introduce PPA on all the public highways, or if members feel their area or the road or the resident are not ready yet for the PPA, let's not approve anything, uphold all the objection received, then I'll bring report after 2 years. Happy to take any question.
Thank you very much, Eunice. First of all, I've got comments from the public first, and I've got a few people. So I've got Mr. Ahmed, if you'd like to come forward, sir. You will have 3 minutes, and before the end of your 3 minutes is up, we'll just let you know. Okay, so just keep it sort of succinct.
Okay, thank you very much, John and James. Because of your leaflet, I knew about this parking situation. I've lived on Kingston Road for the last 18 years. I've seen the changes from a single yellow line to a double yellow line for the bollards. We cannot park our cars on the side roads. Now, you bring up a PPA. I'm a black cab taxi driver. I cannot even park outside my house. With all the cycle lane coming up, it's a shambles. You have not consulted properly. We don't know about all these meetings. I had to come specially for this meeting. We had to put up, complete all this one. We were not even included for everything. I've seen your leaflet there, put on the street there. We don't have even even allow us to park our cars. We are not even included. The people who are included for the PPA or permits were those people who have the shops or people living upstairs. I live on 189 Kingston Road. I've got my neighbour there, 191, and my other neighbour as well. It's a shambles. The consultation has been, I don't know how. We don't know about these things. Things are happening in our neighbourhood. How do you inform people about these proposals going on? I don't know. This is the first time I ever come to a council meeting. I never come, but thank you very much. Because of your leaflet, I knew about this parking situation. So I've come here, and wow.
Thank you. Where did you say you live? Kingston Road?
Yes, I'm on 189 Kingston Road.
Are you on the Aldi side?
Yes.
Ah,
yes.
okay.
A few houses there.
Yeah, I know the houses
Yes,
you mean. Yep.
yes, ma'am.
Yep. Okay.
I cannot park my car.
Okay, thank
so
you.
I've got to park my car on the forecourts of the neighbours because I know them not. So
And where would you normally park your car
On
then?
the
Because you can't park outside your house, can you?
no, we can't. There was initially, when I moved in, there was a restriction with the bus lane 7 to 10 and 4 to 7, I could park. Then you brought in the double yellow lines there outside my house. After the double yellow lines, you put bollards for a cycle lane. God, I can't even offload anything outside my house.
Okay, but can I just ask you where you park at the moment?
At the moment, I have to park on the side road at the mercy of the people who I know are parking in their forecourts.
Okay.
Because, yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Eunice, did you want to comment on any of those comments? If you just wait a minute and the officer will reply to your comments. Yeah?
Thank you, Chair. As far as I'm aware, the residents who live in Kingston Road opposite, on either side of Kingston Road, they should receive copy of the letter. And if they haven't, I'm sorry, I understand that. And if they haven't received a copy of the letter, I'm happy to look into it and see the one we receive, because I have some comment received from Kingston Road, Chair. But anyway, I'll look into that as far as I'm aware, but I know about the gentleman, and he already written to us through the ward members and through others as well. So we are aware of that. And we did say as well, if the scheme goes ahead, he will be allowed to be part of the eligibility list. But as far as I'm aware, letter should go out to the resident and the surrounding, not only the people of California Road. So I'll have a look into that, Chair.
Thank you very much, Eunice. Thank you, Mr. Ahmed. Thank you for asking your question. The next person I'd like to call is Marial Nazir. Have I got that name right? Please come forward. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. It's Maria.
Yeah, so you've got 3 minutes as well,
Yep.
up to 3 minutes, and then we'll let you know before 1 minute's up. Yeah,
Thank you. I won't repeat a lot of what my dad said. That's my dad. So obviously I was going to mention the black cab, taxi driver, all that sort of thing. But in general, I just kind of want to speak that we're not, like the residents on Kingston Road generally are not in support of the permit scheme. But what's happened is we've not actually been included in the people who are being considered to even apply. So whilst it's not ideal, the idea that we've just completely been looked over. Sorry, I'm getting quite emotional now, but we had a single yellow line outside our house. I used to be a primary school teacher. I parked 7 to 7, long days, but I park outside the house. That became a double yellow line, and then a bus stop with an island has now joined the opposite side of the road. We couldn't even stay, shopping. Grandma, when she was alive, she had to cross the road. There's not even a zebra crossing. It's not safe. That being one. Fine, now you've put bollards. We can't park. We park down the side road, usually Springfield Place. Generally, it's fine, but unfortunately, because of the student accommodation, the new build, that has not taken into account parking. They've promised, my friend who lives there, she doesn't drive. She said that her neighbours were promised parking down the side roads where they didn't have one allocated to them. They said, oh, don't worry, you can park down California Road, Springfield Place, etc. So I even told her about this meeting, so I don't know if anyone from there is here today. I'm here. Thank you. So people were promised these things, were not given them. And what's happened is, unfortunately, I don't want to play the race card, but there is a lot of racial tension down that side road. Unfortunately, we live in where we live. There's a lot of families that are we're Indian, we've got Iraqi neighbours, Moroccan neighbours, we have Polish neighbours. There is an animosity because there is a shortage of parking as it is. So you're creating even more racial divide and it's not great. Bollards, double yellow, bus stop being extended. You don't want us there. We've got a new development, a student accommodation, a new build, and now on the corner where Lee Close is, there's another housing development. So it just feels like the place is becoming inhospitable. Like, it would make sense to create a new lot of flats. I can see it in my head. We've been there for 18 years, and I've lived in Kingston my whole life. And it's just a state. So really, my questions are, why have we not been considered? The houses, to the gentleman's point, we were sent letters. We were not told in the letter, hey, you are not included. My neighbour kindly came to our house, explained it, because I wasn't happy with the permit, but I was thinking at least there'd be security, at least we wouldn't have the animosity for neighbours. But actually, he told me, rightly so, we were not included in the list of people who could apply for it, which is shocking to me, because where do you expect us to park? Like you mentioned, it's going to be the entire zone. We can't park down another road. We can't park behind our house. We can't park anywhere. So I don't know what the answer is here. Ideally, we don't want it, but also we need to address a larger question in terms of why are these new builds being built? Why are these things being built without thinking about parking permits, without thinking about local community? The Aldi's right there. The parking is reduced from 2 hours to 1 hour and a half. I've had 2 parking tickets. Because there's been no place to park down the side road, I've got to park down an Aldi. I've got a parking ticket. So, sorry to go on, but there's so many things to consider. It's not just whether we have a PPA or whatever it's called. This is my first time here. It's not even that. It's a larger question with why are we not being considered? When even the flats on top of shops are being considered, but actually the 4+ bed houses that are on a terrace that are generally council houses are not being considered. It feels malicious, if I'm completely honest. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Are you at the same address?
Me and my dad are, but my...
Same address?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. On the Kingston Road?
Yes.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah.
From address 183 to 202?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I think the point is we never said who's entitled and who's not entitled yet. The list of
Sorry, can you speak to
entitlement-
me, please, and then the people who are concerned, please? Thank you.
I'm sorry, but the draft was very clear about
We read-
who was going to be able to...
Said Kingston Road, and it listed out the numbers that were considered, and we were not there.
Okay, this is a draft traffic management order. What that mean? After we publish the draft, you raise a concern, you raised it with your ward councillors, and I assure ward councillors you will be included if the scheme goes ahead. So, and I felt he already informed you. I'm not sure if they did or they didn't, but I assured them because I think Councillor Tracy wrote to me about it, and she asked me about they live there, and I said, yes, you are absolutely right, because this resident, currently they park in this area, they will be entitled to purchase a permit if the scheme goes ahead.
Sir, can I mention something, if that's okay? So when it was, I think, when we received the last communications from you, we went online at that very moment with my neighbour, and we checked. So the most recent communications, even if it was a draft, I think if the draft was to include us, it should have been listed there clearly.
I think we haven't amended that draft because the draft it is in what we're planning to do, and the decision tonight will decide if the scheme goes ahead. Then we can decide on the eligibility list. Then the number of property who will be entitled to purchase a permit, they will be on that list. And as I said earlier, the ward member asked for this property to be included, and they will be included if the scheme goes ahead and the TMO is being published. Thank you.
Thank you, Eunice. Councillor Giles.
Thank you, Chair. Just because I've been referenced, I think throughout this entire process, I think what we're hearing, this is the second speaker now, who's spoken to, if I'm being generous, clear failures in communication. The fact remains, the draft TMO was quite prescriptive about the numbers. It shouldn't have taken for us to have had to then seek that clarification, both for Barker Close, for the odd numbers of Kingston Road. And so I hear completely what Maria's saying, because I can imagine, if, as she says, she uses Springfield Place, just how anxiety-inducing reading that draft TMO would have been. So thank you for coming.
Thank you. I didn't mention the sort of things that happen as a result of the tensions, but cars being scraped. My dad couldn't work for a week because paint was thrown at his taxi. So that's the kind of animosity that we are experiencing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for asking your question. I don't know why racism comes into it anyway. Right, the next person is, excuse my pronunciation, Abdusamad Abdalanu. Oh, yes, sorry, you wanted to just fall back on that. Thank you.
I want to say, yes, you are absolutely right. I think Councillor Charles absolutely spot on here. We are under resources, and when you are less people, we end up doing a mistake. And I do appreciate, and I do feel, yes, could be done better. And I agree with you, Councillor, and my team should share the plan, the letter, and everything with you, other ward members, then we can have that. And I think, yeah, I agree, and I'll take full responsibility for that. Thank you.
Very gracious of you.
First
Thank
of all, I
you.
would like to thank you for
Right,
the opportunity.
hang on a minute. Just going to put you on timer.
Okay.
So you've got up to 3 minutes, and we'll let you know.
Maybe a bit less than that.
Well, okay,
So I
just
would
make
like to
sure you
express-
speak clearly.
Okay, I would like to express my gratitude to be here today and the opportunity being given to us as residents to actually express our concern in front of this honourable committee. I'm the local imam. I'm also a mayor chaplain and also a community worker. So I would really we do quite a lot of things for the community and the borough. I would like to share the same concern with my neighbour because they actually, on my right, my left, 191, 178, 187, they're all, we live like a family for 18 years.
Yeah.
I think the main concern about the depression, anxiety being caused about, I'm not blaming, trust me, I'm not blaming anyone here. It's not about blame, it's about addressing the issue. The depression, anxiety, and stress being caused by that, the scheme has not been cleared. My wife and my family and my children actually, Dad, are you killing us? I mean, where are we going to park our car? Because we're not allowed to park on the main road. The WL being stopped, actually being enforced. We rely on the mercy between bracket, mercy being used by the word, but I'm going to use that word, mercy of the Springfield Road, Springfield Place and Georgia Road. Whenever the parking availabilities are there for us to look at us with an eye of mercy. So I'm really asking you, and asking you by God, because you're people of faith, okay, to look at the matter with an eye of concern and really help us not to engage and feel that kind of depression, anxiety again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Did you want to come back, Eunice? Thank you for bringing those points up. We really appreciate that. Thank you.
No, Chair, thank you.
My last question is from Tony. Oh, it's a lady. Okay, Tony. And is it Chadber? Yeah, please come forward.
Good evening, everyone.
Just hang on a minute and we'll put you on the timer. Yeah. Thank you very much, Tony.
Well, good evening. I'm a new resident at number 9 St John's Road at New Malden. And since I've moved in, there's been a huge discrimination against council tenants and people that have bought the property. And I am a council tenant. I have worked all my life, but unfortunately there was an accident with my little boy and my partner. I lost them in a car accident. So I've been out of work. And unfortunately, Ian Gibbs has a massive private parking underground and round at the back. The underground parking, there's people coming in and out. Round at the back, there's people coming in and out. If you go round there of an evening, round the back is completely and utterly empty. There's about 4 cars in that car park of a night. I have been disputing against PA Housing and Ian Gibbs. My daughter's got a tumour on her foot. We have to walk from Springfield Road to cross the road. When you press the green man, it gives you exactly not even a minute to cross that road. That is a health and safety for the children that from that block of flats, if you come of a first thing in the morning and of an evening, myself and my daughter Olivia will do what the other residents are doing, is walk across the road, because if you walk up, press the green man, you've got less than a minute. It's more of a health hazard. You've got men driving up when you're in the crossing of the road. If Ian Gibbs opened up the back of the car park to council tenants and not discriminate against the non-council tenants, half of your parking would be sorted. Half of the parking would be sorted. I have been told personally personally, and I've got it in writing because I was going to take it to court, because I think it's disgusting how they're building them new block of flats and it is only been given to people that have bought the property. I understand that they've got to have pros. I totally understand. But don't discriminate the council tenants like that. You know, she's got a tumour. We're under a specialist. You know, she's normally on a Zimmer frame and crutches. Her hands blister. She doesn't like walking because of the pressure on the foot. She went for an MRI scan. I've sent in all the evidence. Still won't give me parking. There's disabled bays out the back that are not being used. It's absolutely disgusting from Ian Gibbs's car parking.
So who is Ian Gibbs?
Ian Gibbs owns the land for the private car parking, underground and round the back. Ian Gibbs, yes, so I've been in response to Sharon and Richard. They have copied me in emails. I spoke to Ollie about it, about the parking. It is horrendous. There's parking round the back. But he won't let anyone park there.
May I suggest you apply for a blue badge?
I've applied for one, but they're on a backlog from January.
Right, but I think your local council would support you in that. I certainly would, for medical reasons.
Well, you speak to Ian Gibbs and you speak to P8 Housing, and that is my response.
Is that who is providing the, as you say, the social housing?
Yeah, they won't give me parking under no circumstances because I haven't bought the property. She's got a tumour. She's got 3 tumours on her foot. She's under a specialist. And they still will not give me parking. Even when there was an accident 2 weeks ago, we was crossing the road with a Zimmer frame. The man come zooming down the road. We was in the middle of the road. Well, I brought it up to health and safety, the safeguarding team. Still no response. But there will be a response when she's knocked over on the Zimmer frame. That's when you're going to get your response.
Are you talking about the crossing by the newsagents on the corner there?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
just so that people know where you are.
Yeah, that's the only crossing. You've built them new block of flats. There's no crossing going across the road. It's only to there. And the council tenants with children, most of them have got children, you see them, crossing the road at 8:15 in the morning. These little timid children, there was nearly an accident last week with a little girl being hit by a car because she's trying to get from that side of the road to the new block of flats. But the parent is not allowed parking because she's a council tenant. It's only been provided for the private. Yes. Yep. And I think it's disgusting. So that's my word. And all the other tenants are talking about it. All the other residents are talking about it. No one's come here to say anything. There's a massive WhatsApp group. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to attend the meeting. I'm going to make it very loud and clear that there's discrimination going on between council and non-council tenants. There's a medical need, still been given no parking. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony, for bringing that matter to our attention.
One
of your local councillor is here tonight,
Yep.
so perhaps he will take that on board. He's waving to you.
All the California Road, all the Dickeridge Road, that will stop all of your parking issues if Ian Gibbs opens up that back of the car park for the council tenants. You won't have all these panel meetings. You won't have all the, with the other residents coming together and building up WhatsApp groups.
Okay. Sorry, I've got to stop you there because we've got a lot on the agenda tonight. But thank you very much for telling us about that. And I'm sorry to hear about your circumstances, but take care. Thank you very much. Right, moving on. Under Procedural Rule 27, Councillor Waring, who's sitting there, has requested to speak on this item. And does the committee agree to this? Agreed. Thank you. Please come forward, Councillor Waring. You have up to 3 minutes to speak.
Hello.
When you're ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Chair. Good evening, colleagues. Nice to see you all again. So, my name's Ollie Waring. I'm one of the councillors for Norbiton Ward. Tony and I know each other far too well, and we'll be meeting up for coffee very soon. I'm also the chair of Kingston and North Kingston Neighbourhood, just across the way from you. The reason I wanted to talk about the parking within the designated California Road area is specific to the impact of your decision this evening on the residents of Kingston East. The development on the former site of Homebase sits in Norbiton Ward and Kingston and North Kingston neighbourhood, so it's not in your neighbourhood, but the impact will be felt more by those residents than anyone else. As I'm sure you're aware, you'll no doubt have seen the petition pulled together earlier this year by Kingston East residents. The officer recommendation before you this evening, which is to implement parking restrictions around the wider California Road area, will impact the residents of my ward considerably more than they will the residents of your neighbourhood, given Kingston East residents would not qualify for parking permits. Now, I'm not here this evening to ask you to dismiss the proposal, but I'm here to ask you as the committee to make a proportionate response to the officer's recommendation. The developer of Kingston East, Fairview Estates, didn't really cover itself in any kind of glory when marketing the properties for sale. Consider not only a full page in the sales brochure to prospective buyers containing a map of the surrounding roads and indicating where parking is available free of charge. Consider also Fairview's raffle, open to buyers of properties, to win, of all things, a car. All this for a development positioned willfully by Fairview to Kingston Council as being a car-light development. Not to mention that from the outset, Fairview had agreed to pay for new parking restrictions on these very roads. The proposal in front of you is being paid for by the developer. None of this is the fault of the current residents of Kingston East. Since residents started to move into the complex in mid-2023, we've had the better part of 2 years to identify the parking hotspots in the California Road area, which have also been identified, it would appear, by the outcome of your 2 consultations prior to the recommendation before you this evening. I believe the sole hotspot is on California Road itself between Kingston Road and Abbeyfield House opposite Windrush. These properties do not have driveways, making the implementation of parking restrictions on this stretch eminently sensible. Beyond this part of the area, however, I fail to see a parking problem. Now, I totally agree that introducing restrictions results in displacement of parking elsewhere. The Committee for Kingston and North Kingston Neighbourhood, we're going to decide later this year on introducing parking restrictions on Dickeridge Lane, Lincoln, Stafford and Warwick Roads. The rest of the area, however, contains properties with driveways. Agreeing with the officer recommendation to apply restrictions to the entire area may end up looking cleaner on a map, but it risks angering your residents who will likely see this as a cash grab exercise. I would ask you as a committee to be pragmatic rather than dogmatic this evening and resolve the problem being experienced by your residents on this short stretch of road in the proposed area only, while also being sympathetic to the very awkward situation affecting mine. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Councillor Waring. Very nice. Right, moving swiftly on. Do any members have any questions of the officer about this? Councillor Giles.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I do have a question. There's a figure quoted at the start of how many objections have been received. I just want clarity on that number, please.
We received 359 objections made of, do you want me to continue or that's enough?
Well, I just then want to clarify, if I may, whether that includes the 105 signatures of the petition from Kingston East.
Yes.
Thank you. And whether or not, if you like, the junk folder of the TMO inbox was checked, on the basis that to my personal, or rather my council email address, I received personally, all of which also copied to the TMO email, 336 individual emails objecting to the TMO. They all were written to TMO at Kingston. I was then copied in as one of the recipients. So I'm struggling to square 336 against the 254 received once you discount the petition. I wonder perhaps whether some of the names were duplicates, perhaps, and if so, is that perhaps how we arrive at that number?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, Councillor Charles is right. We receive the petition as an objection. Then we receive individuals who live in Kingston East as well, who signed the petition, signed another objection to make sure we are receiving the objection. So we had to go through all of them. We can't put double number. So that's why we end up with 359 objection, Chair.
Thank you. Good to get that clarity.
Thank you. Councillor Durrant, did you want to speak?
More of a comment.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I thank you, everybody, for coming along this evening. It's been very interesting, very informative to hear all of your viewpoints. I think I want to just put something into context as well, because I was around when the planning permission of Kingston East was built. Unfortunately, there is something called the London Plan, which is the Mayor of London and Sadiq Khan, and he insists that all new flats and properties, generally speaking, you're talking about 0.6 of a car per household. And so this baked in problems from the beginning, and this will happen and continue as long as that policy carries on. And the series of unintended consequences as a result of that policy is plain for everybody to see in front of us tonight as well. My personal view is that if we can move people away from cars, that's great, but you have to move people along with you, not against you. For example, I don't have a car. I just hire a car when I need one, but I know that's not the case for everybody, and I know that doesn't work. So I am sorry also for the appalling marketing strategies that Fairview put across to you when this thing was being marketed, like the free car, ridiculous. So, yeah, I have a lot of sympathy for everybody living in Kingston East as well. And I'm sort of also thinking about other things like the private roads. I'm not entirely sure we have the remit to put a PPA in that area. I don't know why that has been included, and I think it should be taken out of the proposals, and I think we should consider just going for a much more restricted area around California Road only, so that obviously all of the people here on Kingston Road are still able to park, as should be their right to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Durrant. Anybody else? Councillor Sillett.
When this came up at our last neighbourhood meeting, it seemed clear, even at the earlier consultation, that there was a lot of support for controlled parking California Road. They've been asking for it for a couple of years. They're getting very upset that they can't park outside their own houses. And it was fairly obvious that there wasn't a lot of support from it, even at that stage, outside of California Road. This consultation has made it very clear that there isn't any really great support for it outside of that California Road. Now, it was suggested that we just maybe have controlled parking in California Road, and I was told that can't happen. We have to include the whole area because of displacement. But because it's not a really long road, I think, you know, we're talking maybe, what, 30 odd places without a driveway there? I mean, could we not consider helping out the residents of California Road while not inflicting something that clearly people around the area don't want?
Yeah, I think it's about 15 houses, if that serves me right, but Councillor Giles is going to probably come in with that.
Thank you, Chair. It's refreshing to hear the arguments I made at the last committee meeting, which were voted down by most colleagues, now being made by others. I'd like to propose a recommendation, and I'd welcome a seconder, which is given, as I think everyone here is fully aware, as Councillor Waring has eloquently put, the sole hotspot being California Road, that a PPA is implemented in California Road only. Now, that will have to, of course, include the far stretch of the road where there's off-street parking for about 10 houses. You couldn't do it on just part of a street. That would be nuts. But the issue is rather unique in these circumstances in that it is only in California Road where residents are experiencing an issue. We've consulted now, this is the third time residents in this area have been written to in the last 2 and a bit years regarding introducing permits in this area. Every time, California Road have said, we want them. Every time, everyone else has said, no, we don't. And so, if it results in some displacement, dare I say, you get what you vote for. You get what you wish for. Because people have been told repeatedly, we're going to bring it in, and every time they've said, we don't want it. And so I'm going to propose that a PPA is implemented, a delegation to the relevant assistant director or whatever they're called these days, to work on the fine print, but in California Road only, and I'd welcome a seconder. That's fine, but I'm proposing this as a motion for us to vote on, and I'm hoping I'll get a seconder.
Yes, I'll second that, Councillor Giles. Just ask if there's anybody here from California Road tonight to pass their opinions on.
I will be on a group WhatsApp and
No, but there's nobody here from in support of the PPA. No, that's a shame that there's nobody here tonight. Right. So, do we have to vote on that first, yeah?
Yeah, I think you discuss that first, an amendment.
Right, so Councillor Giles has proposed that we have a PPA just in California Road. And this is before we vote on the options A or B. So those in favour of that, please raise your hands. I suppose that's unanimous. Those, anybody not?
No, that's unanimous.
Unanimous. Thank you very much. So, moving on to, I don't know if anybody wants to debate any further. We just move on to the next vote because, bearing in mind, we have a lot of ENSIL things to do.
That's done.
So that's gone now.
Yeah, that becomes the substantive recommendation.
Okay, thank you very much indeed.
Oh, Eunice wants to say something.
Oh.
Eunice, yeah.
Chair, as you are only approve the parking permit area in California Road.
I still have to vote on the others.
No, you already, okay. Already approved the scheme. So my question is, Kingston Road resident, do you want them to have the eligibility? Because there is a number of parking spaces only in California Road. So then the resident, they'll have a problem if they want to park in California Road. The original scheme, which is people, they can spread in the area. So people from Kingston Road, they can park somewhere else. It's not, if California or Springfield or anywhere else, they can. Yes. But now if you only approving it in California Road, there is a certain number, limited number there. So do you want these numbers to be only for California Road resident, or do you want to include Kingston Road resident? That's your decision.
As it's going to be quite a limited number down that road, say 15 houses, because the others and the odd numbers have got drives, are we going to be able to allow people from Kingston Road to actually park down there? I mean, I don't know the answer
I mean,
to that.
that is the question I'm putting to you. My recommendation will be not to.
Not to. Yes, I would agree with that.
Because there is other road where they can park in.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
I would agree
you'll have
with
an
that.
implication in California. But that is only
No,
my
I agree. I think that's
recommendation.
sensible.
The call is yours, Council. I asked the question for you to let me know.
No, because there's going to be not enough spaces. Am I right in thinking that? Yeah.
I was just going to say, Chair, that we've got lots of residents from Kingston Road now, and I think I'm right in saying you probably don't use California Road anyway, do you? I would think you use Springfield or Georgia. Yeah.
that a matter of time that the traffic, the people that parks in California Road just going to move to Georgia Road and Springfield Road?
And it's mostly the people in the new flats that are parking on California Road. It's the only people in their new block of flats that are on California Road.
The officers just said to it, this is going to be for 2 years, just to have a look and see how it goes. All right, so it's not set in stone, but it won't come back for any discussion for 2 years. Councillor Giles.
Thank you. To the point raised, I hear the concerns of people in Kingston Road, very much so. There's no perfect solution, unfortunately, to this. I think no matter, well, there's clearly a wrong solution, in my view, which is implementing a PPA in the entire area, because that will have a huge impact on a large number of residents. But there's no golden bullet here that's going to affect everybody. And so I would support it coming back in 2 years. I'd hope we stick to that. There's a tendency for these things to slip. And just finally, Chair, then on the substantive, and I'd ask that the 2 years be put to a vote to be incorporated into that recommendation. But just finally to Tony, who spoke, look, I'm sure Ollie's on it already, but I think Michael McDonough at PA, who's the chief exec, should probably be involved on the basis that what's going on there is clearly unacceptable. And Ollie's a brilliant councillor, but happy to work with to try and get a solution.
I'm sorry, we can't discuss that further, okay? Right, so.
I think it's very important for Tony's case if she can have a blue badge, because the minute you got a blue badge, the development, they have a disabled base, so they can't, you don't have to be owner to use them, but you need the blue badge holder. That will be your ticket to be able to have a bay, because there is a restriction on management. There's not enough parking, so he's gonna play on this point, but if you have a blue badge holder, that will be your best opportunity. That's my advice to you, to push with it, then you are able to have a permit there. He can't say no to you.
Okay, can we stop this now? And so we just
Right,
confirm
so,
we've got- Yep.
Committee, can we just confirm that we are happy now with that the proposed recommendation by Councillor Giles that a PPA will be implemented in California Road only, and it will come back to committee in 2 years for a review?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Agreed.
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 Sorry, no, I was
Sorry,
raising
we've
my
got to
hand.
move on.
Yeah, no, I was raising my hand to speak, though, if you're asking if people were happy. Look.
Well, you suggested it,
Yes,
so you
I
must
know.
be.
No, I know I
Surely.
suggested it. There are various specifics, Chair, to this. There are various specifics to this. I'm questioning, for clarity, eligibility of people within the parking permits, because obviously, as it stands at the moment, the side of California Road closest to the shops in the daytime has a 2 hours no return for the parking. One presumes that will become part of the PPA scheme, which in theory then creates more spaces for residents within the PPA to park. And so I'm merely questioning.
But less for shops.
Yes, less for shops, but I'm merely questioning whether or not, in light of the fact there will be extra spaces within the PPA, whether it may indeed be prudent, given it's for a trial period of 2 years now, to include those homes along Kingston Road, because of course they're the only other people in the area that do not have off-street parking.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eunice.
I think, Chair, that's a very important point, and I think, yes, you need to think about it. However, I think it's important to think about your businesses as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all these shops. So instead of including these bays within the PPA, I will start the PPA after these bays. So we'll leave these bays free, so we'll keep it to the businesses. Then after the bays, we can start the PPA, so we can have after those. So at least we balance it between the resident need and the businesses need. I hope that has helped.
It is, because otherwise we're going to have the same situation with Idminster Square, where there's a parade of shops and people can't park or whatever, you know, because we've got a PPA there. This is a slightly different set of circumstances, but there's been a problem there. We don't want to create another problem like that. Okay, thank you.
No, we don't, Chair, but I'm aware that there are the options to have dual schemes whereby you're either a visitor, in which case you're time restricted, or you're a permit holder. And I'd like to think that a hybrid solution could perhaps be found. And so I perhaps question whether, as part of this delegated authority then for it to be introduced, whether there's some consultation that can maybe be done with you and ourselves as the ward members, maybe just to iron out some of these specifics, to try and find something that can accommodate as many people as possible. Because I agree with you, there's a lot on the agenda tonight, but I think there's a few specifics here that still need to be ironed out.
I'm sure we can, yeah. Can we agree to that?
Yeah, agreed.
I think what Councillor Charles is referring to is different type of CPZ. This is controlled parking zone, and it's different between controlled parking zone and parking permit area. And I think I need to make it very clear to you the difference between them. If we put the shared, the hybrid, the Councillor Charles is referring to, that means it's got to be controlled parking zone. What that mean? We need to mark the bays. What that mean? We need to put single yellow line outside the crossovers. That means the capacity for California Road is going to be reduced as a result of that. So if you want to go with that, that is the CPZ. The parking permit scheme, you do not mark any bays, you just put entrance and exit. So I'm happy to discuss with you all whatever you want, but that is the difference between these two.
I agree with the officer, Chair, but that's why you can't then surely have half the street having signage saying 2 hours visitors only, and then at the entrances and exit to the road as a whole, saying you're in a parking permit area. It's either got to be for the entire street, one or the other, because how can... Well, no, because you're suggesting, Chair, that half the street is still going to have 2 hours for the shops. If we're agreeing a parking permit area, which was my suggestion, which was agreed to, the entire street becomes parking permits. You cannot have a hybrid because you can't put signage on half the street that says this is a PPA. It's at the ends of the street. And so insofar as I'd be interested to hear the solution to that.
Sorry, Chair, I don't want to prolong this meeting more than what it is. I think the question, if I may, if you approve the scheme with the officer discussing the details, where the start of the PPA, and if we want to include this base or not include this base, it's that. So if you give the director of environmental services, my director, to discuss with you and the ward members how to handle and how the design will be, then we can take it from here. So I think there's a lot of questions, a lot of unanswered questions, so we need to redesign it and need to agree. But now you're agreeing on California Road only, though I need to send letter to all the residents and to the people who object to make them aware that is the resolution, not now after 5 days. Then that is the resolution. Then the details of California Road, I guess we need to work on it. What is the best way to address and balance it for the resident of California Road and the businesses at the same time?
Sorry.
We're going to take the eligibility offline.
Finish there because we've got a lot to go. We have to be cleared up and tidied up.
Yeah, I'm just really,
before 10:30, okay? And so
just
if you
wanna be
want to
quick.
speak to them, well, you can speak to them.
no,
They're
I just want
your
to
ward.
ask, because I'm not sure, is it possible that we can include Kingston, those few houses, in the permit?
Like I said, I will be discussing it.
Can we
and
take it offline,
The
please? Yeah, otherwise
eligibility
we're gonna be
list,
here all
the
night.
eligibility list will be
And we're gonna get
discussed
shut
as a
out.
part of that.
Right, okay, moving quickly on. Thank you, Eunice, for your help tonight. And thank you, residents, for coming. Hope it was a good evening for you. Right, allocation, item 9, allocation of neighbourhood community infrastructure, NSIL, to consider applications for community infrastructure levy. Members and applicants are reminded that we do not have enough within the
Lovely seeing you.
NSIL budget to grant every application before us this evening, as the amount sought exceeds 140,000 budget. I'm talking. Rude.
Well, let's keep going. People decide to
In
leave,
terms
don't
of
they?
how we deal with each application tonight, in the interest of fairness, I propose that we consider all applications in turn, listening to those applications that are present, and then once we've debated and looked at the applications, then we'll propose and vote them. Okay? Everybody happy with that?
Sounds good.
Good. Okay. Application 1. If you could introduce. Sorry, you've had a long wait.
That's fine. As I said, I'll be very quick. We've had a workshop anyway. So I just essentially you've gone over the budget already. So I think we can move on unless there's any questions about the budgets or anything like that for members. I assume not. We've got a question over there. Councillor Massimi.
Oh,
Have you got any question in terms of the budgets or etc.?
Yes, I just want to clarify that the fourth project is or could potentially be reduced down to 54,000 if we go with a streamline option worth.
Aren't we doing the first? Aren't we doing the first one, which is Dickeridge?
But we're talking about the budget in general.
Oh, sorry.
So I just want to make sure for clarity that we will reduce, because of the tight budget, the fourth project down to £54,000, having a simplified scheme in order to complete that boardwalk in 6 Acre Meadows in Old Malden. Thank you.
I can comment on that. Yes, I'm aware of what you're talking about. So essentially, given the budgets, members are really looking at funding 3 out of the 4. However, for that particular project, which is Annex 4, I think there is an option to fund the pathway, but not the additional platforms and the benches, which would put it into the 54,000. So we'll deal with that later, but I'm aware of that. Any other questions? We've got Councillor Sillett.
So just to clarify Councillor Massimi's point, he said he wants to reduce, he could reduce a cut-down version of the boardwalk to 54,000. That's what he's just saying. Yeah. But that would still leave us presumably 30-odd thousand short.
Correct. I mean, obviously, we've got 140,000. They're all more or less 40 to 50,000. So if you add them all together, you've still got 3 out of the 4. But reducing it, potentially there is an option, depending on which ones you obviously. I mean, we'll get into that later, I think, in the debate. But we've got another council question, I think.
Sorry, did we have anybody here to speak on the application? I don't know who the other people are sitting.
We do. We've got 2 council officers, and I'll bring them up in a second once we've dealt with these questions.
I'll call them in a minute then.
Yeah.
Chair, we also have Simeon Lindstedt here for Manor Park.
Oh, he's hiding. Okay.
2 questions. One was regards to the procurement of the pod point in the Malden Centre. Maybe we'll get into that. I think we should definitely have it. Should we do one at a time? Yeah.
Can we do one at a time? Otherwise, I'm going to get really confused.
I think we should do it that way. Yeah.
Right, number 1.
So,
bring them up.
Do we have the applicant here for the playground, the officer?
Yeah, for Dickeridge.
Please come and sit down and tell us about it, please. Thank you. Your name is?
My name is Sonam Chahal Sharma. I'm
Who?
Sonam Chahal Sharma. I'm the commissioning officer for Active Kingston at
Welcome.
RBK.
Thank you very much. And you're going to have, I think, about 2 minutes just to sort of outline the project. Thank you.
Okay, I'll do my best. So the Dickeridge Sports and Community Centre Playground Project. As you're aware, Dickeridge Sports and Community Centre is a valued hub for the community in Old and New Malden area. Being managed by AFC, the centre is a vital space for play, social interaction and community support. It offers youth clubs, under fives activities and advice around mental health, education and housing, amongst other items. Due to the usage of the site by our local community, the playground and surrounding infrastructure now need significant improvement to maintain the safety, enhance accessibility and meet the ever-growing demand of our local families. Kingston Council, in partnership with AFC, are proposing a programme of upgrades to be funded by NSIL, we hope. The proposed improvements aim to transform the centre's outdoor facilities into a safer, welcoming and more engaging environment. We propose to do this by 4 main items: resurfacing the playground for improved safety, replacing the damaged fencing to boost security and visual appeal, installing new playground equipment to offer more age-appropriate options, and adding new benches to encourage communication, community interaction. These enhancements align with the local community plan priorities and Kingston's 2023 Active Kingston framework, highlighting physical activity, well-being, social inclusion and stronger neighbourhood connections. The project will deliver a wide range of benefits: a safer environment for children and families to play and gather, improved access for people of all ages and abilities, to promote active lifestyles and physical well-being, strengthen community cohesion through shared spaces, and to sustain the role of the centre as a supportive and inclusive family hub. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do members have any questions or comments?
Could the money that's going to the fence please be diverted to the sandpit that's got splinters in and it's closed seemingly permanently now? Every weekend kids are being upset. They used to love playing in it. They're being told they can't play in it again, it's closed. I know the fences need doing, but it would be lovely to get that sandpit back into action as a priority. Is that a possibility?
I'm not sure how to answer that question. Perhaps Paul can help me.
I mean, we could look into it. The bid's in front of you. You'll have to consider it as it is, essentially. But obviously, the leisure services are here. They'll take that away.
So it doesn't include the sandpit renewal?
I'm not actually sure because this wasn't my project and I'm just here this evening, but I can certainly take that back and I will take back your suggestion and we'll pick that up. Thank you.
Councillor Bolton.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thanks to the officer for that presentation. I completely agree with everything you said, and of course my ward colleague mentioning the sandpit, that's an important thing as well, but that's not in the bid that we're considering tonight, as we've heard. So I wholeheartedly support the bid that you have put forward tonight, and thank you for doing that. Just as a little bit of background, I hold my ward surgery at Dickeridge very frequently, and it's a frequent topic of conversation among the visitors to the centre, both, well, usually the parents, of course, but the council officers as well, just how badly in need of an upgrade the Dickeridge playground is. So thank you for coming here tonight and for bringing this forward, and I completely support it. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Durrant.
Thank you. I also support this proposal, although I think my point is, why was this not included in the much wider playground regeneration budget, which was 1.3 million, as far as I understand? Why is it coming into this particular budget? Because it isn't going to touch the sides, is it? It's not enough. It's nowhere near enough to get the job done. I will support it, but where is the rest of the money? You know, so why are we not going out of that particular budget? First question. Second question is, that being the case, can we try and use the procurement of all of the other bits of playground that we're still to acquire to try and drive down the price of some of these items. Surely, if we buy the things in bulk, like for example, in my ward, we got all 3 of our playgrounds redone, and I'm pretty certain there was a kind of bulk buy discount, if you like. So can we please consider those 2 points?
That's where the money went. That's where the money went.
Thank you. Councillor Giles.
Thanks, Chair, and thank you for the application. I mean, look, obviously, we've got a shortfall if we were to approve everything that was agreed here tonight. I get people emailing me about the poor state of Dickridge recreation ground as it currently stands. And so, you know, I absolutely think it needs a refresh. Now, Green Lane Recreation Ground has just received a real uplift, real investment, and you know, that cost £250,000. You know, and I know in the annex, you know, you've got the variety of equipment can include a climbing frame, spinners, springers, bench, play tower, educational panels, but you know, £20,500 ain't going to buy all of that. And so I question whether, you know, I know the fencing at Dickridge. I used to go there as a kid. You know, the pictures of it don't show it in a brilliant condition, but you know, it's by no means the worst fence I've ever seen. And so I question whether this committee would perhaps be minded to approve the application sans the fence, but then also allocate the equivalent of the fencing money, 15,000, to more playground equipment, subject to the project lead confirming they'll be able to use it. And I think, quite frankly, they'd bite our hands off for it. But I'd rather see that money going into play equipment, or indeed the renewal of the sand pit, than I would into replacing the fence.
Thank you. Is there any way, Paul, that the applicant can use their discretion to do that, rather than formally?
I mean, we had a couple of questions, haven't we? A question about budgets, and someone might be able to. I suggest not, because David would be dealing with that side of things. He did respond in terms of that question at the workshop, suggesting that essentially that they have explored every other type of funding source, and they're either been exhausted or not currently available for this type of infrastructure enhancement. That's what's written here, and that's normally how it happens with not just green spaces as well as leisure. They've got their budget, they've got their strategy, and they've got a lot of priorities, and it only stretches so far, and anything that's kind of on the next tier down tends to end up in front of you. In terms of moving that around, that's an interesting question. I think if you agree the allocation, then I think there can certainly be, and as officers, because it's an internal bid, there can be greater discussion with ward members essentially on the defined use of that, and then that can be because obviously we're all one body. So I think if it's recorded in the minutes and members do want that, obviously that's Councillor Giles's proposal. I'm not sure if all other members are agreed. Then of course we will take that forward. So, and that will come later. But keep that maybe in your back pocket for now, I guess.
Okay. Any more comments before we move? Robert.
I have a question.
Yeah. Not to me.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. Yeah. I also support this project as my colleague, Councillor Duran, already did. But because the Dickridge Centre has long served as a vital hub for the family and children and young people around that area. But I also have a similar question about some maintenance cost. Will this create any ongoing maintenance cost if he, implement this project?
Yes, I can answer that. That would have been factored into the existing leisure services budget, so it would be covered. They wouldn't put it forward if they couldn't cover the costs.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else got any comments on this particular application? Okay. So, moving on to the second application, which is the Malden Centre pool pod project. I believe you're talking on that one as well.
I am.
So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Malden Centre Pool Pod Accessibility Project is also being proposed by our team. As you know, the Malden Centre is currently the only operational public swimming pool in Kingston and plays a vital role in the community promoting health, fitness and social inclusion. The existing pool hoist system is dated and it limits access to the pool for those with disabilities, older adults and anyone with mobility challenges. This system can cause discomfort, being an undignified entry experience into the pool, and also it means that that person is dependent on staff. To address these issues, the Active Kingston team is proposing the installation of a pool pod. This is an innovative Paralympic legacy platform lift which allows for independent user-controlled entry and is more dignified pool entry system altogether. The pool pod system will modernise the Malden Centre's facilities, directly supporting Kingston Council's priorities, which highlight inclusivity, well-being and the equal access to leisure for all. This new system allows 2 users at a time to access the pool. So a user who is in a wheelchair, for instance, can enter with their carer or companion. This will then reduce staff dependency and transform the swimming experience for a wider range of users. Should our project be approved, we are looking to install the pod this autumn. The project supports the goals of the new and old Malden Neighbourhood Plan and the 2023 Active Kingston Framework to ensure that Malden Centre remains a model of accessible, inclusive and future-proof community leisure. The key highlights: improves accessibility, a more dignified alternative because it will replace the outdated hoist system, providing a more independent and Paralympic legacy standard. Health and safety benefits, encourage increased physical activity, reduces social isolation and supports rehabilitation.
Thank you. That's 2 minutes. Thank you very much. Anybody got any questions? And I will wait to the end.
Comment, if that's all right.
Questions first.
Right. Yep.
Councillor Massimi.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. Yeah, I mean, there are 4 really good projects, and 3 of them are quite similar in the spec, the green space, the outdoor, and the improvement of the right to room and access to nature. This project is very justified in my way as well for the pool. But my questions to the team is, I'm slightly uncomfortable to allocate the NC grant for a project which is part of an upgrade of an existing building, existing structure with a different group, and also for a place that generates to some extent revenue. We're not talking about something free that anyone can access anytime and every time. I'm not certain this is the best use of an NCIL. In a normal scenario, what budget should have been allocated for this type of upgrade on an existing leisure site? That's my question.
I'll try. It might sound like a stuck record, but yeah, essentially it would. I can't speak for David Mason's budget, but yeah, leisure services, they've obviously they've indicated they've got their budget, and you may be aware that obviously there was an additional one for the Malden Centre with the air conditioning unit, which was pulled, and I was reassured by David that the reason the other one was pulled is because they managed to factor it into the new leisure services contract. I think that's correct, if that's on him, but they weren't able to in this for this one, and he was very clear that they weren't able to. So they've obviously explored every other avenue for the fundings for this, and even for the other sites of the other application. Don't know if that helps, but
thank you. Councillor Park.
No, my question is quite simple. Just I wanted to know whether you. I'm always. First of all, I wanted to say I'm always support for the disabled people, the residents, as well as vulnerable the residents. But I wanted to ask you how many the disabled residents using Malden Centre, whether you have a data, and also for kind of how many the case has been raised to be able to access all other areas? Do you have that kind of data to support this project?
I do have some data. I was essentially in what was sent around. It's anticipated that the new pod would directly benefit approximately 10 to 15% of site users. So that's the numbers. They're not like actual users, but that's a percentage. I can't remember what the second part was, but I don't think I have an answer to that.
Thank you. Councillor Bolton and then Councillor Giles.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thanks to the officer again. You know, what absolutely sort of leaps out at me is that this, as the paperwork says, it's about ensuring that everyone, regardless of physical ability, can enjoy the benefits of swimming. It's about dignity for the disabled, and again, I wholeheartedly support this project, and thank you for bringing it to us.
Councillor Giles.
Thanks very much. I've got a question, really, regarding this, insofar as it's been, to my knowledge, council policy at least since 2017 and affirmed no less than 3 times at various committees that the Malden Centre will be regenerated. Now, obviously, given the Kingfisher debacle, there's the million-dollar question of when, but I think my concern with this is that we're going to give given our budget, a not unsubstantial amount of money possibly to this, which I don't doubt in the short term will benefit pool users. But then that will become in effect redundant as when if we do indeed ever get a new swimming pool. And so I wondered, I'm not necessarily expecting the officer to necessarily have all the answers on this, or indeed Paul, but if someone could maybe enlighten me as to where the council currently stands on that in light of everything else, because, you know, I don't want to be throwing money at something that 3, 4, 5 years from now is useless, because obviously a modern pool, when built, will come with these bells and whistles by default.
Am I able to answer that?
Please do.
As best I can. Is that all right, Paul? So I didn't get to that because I wasn't talking fast enough in my 2 minutes. One of the highlights was future-proof investment. The pod comes with a 10-year warranty, but it's a dual location usage, which is extremely cost-effective. So basically what we could do, in answer directly to your question, is move it to the new centre. So we could really move it to any site if they had another swimming pool as well. So actually, it wouldn't be wasted in that regard. Say, for instance, the Malden Centre only has a life expectancy of 7 years. We'd still have 3 years, but we could move it across to the other one anyway. Thank you.
Mark.
Thank you. I think also just a little extra on that in the paperwork as well. There's an installation cost of about 3.5, 3.7. So I guess that's, you know, if it was to be moved to somewhere else, then you could move it. Yeah, you'd have to pay it again, but it's not, you know, like it's not fixed into the ground in concrete. You can move it for sort of about 3.5K. And if I may, I think it's an excellent proposal. I really do think we should be supporting this. I think I was talking to Councillor Thorpe the other day, and generally speaking, the Malden Centre is extremely well used. I think it's up to 85% capacity at the moment. It's one of our most used facilities in the borough, and I think it's really important that we support this so that everybody can be, who wants to swim can be, particularly as we see, unfortunately, the potential vulnerability of Fitness for Less swimming pool, which may or may not be closing. It is closing. All right. So this will be the only pool in New Malden and the wider area. So I really do think we need to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I have 2 questions. It says on the figures, this 39,087.45, that's excluding VAT, which in my estimation is about nearly 8,000. Who's paying for the VAT?
I think it's exempt, isn't it?
We are exempt.
Yes, I think because we are VAT exempt, and it's the same with the others.
It's all of them.
So yeah,
Right,
it does
I've got
include
that.
the full costs.
What is that? Because it's for disabled access? Is that the?
I
why
can't.
is the reason?
VAT rules.
VAT rules.
VAT rules.
Okay.
Let's move on.
My other question...
I could tell you, but you'd probably want to shoot me, so...
That's right, no, don't leave us tonight.
We'll be here until tomorrow.
My other question is the room it takes up, and I can see where it would go at the Malden Centre between two pools because he used to be a swimming teacher there, but would it be pushed away and stored somewhere when not in use? Because I can't envisage it sitting on poolside when you've got swimming clubs using it, and that it's fine when Spartans, the disabled people, are using it. They'd want it out all for their whole session. But for clubs and other people in general use, and also swimming classes, where are you going to put it? To me, it would be a bit in the way.
Yeah, so there is a storage area just off poolside. And it's a,
but it has got a lot of other junk inside
it
as
has,
well.
but I think that was just be a case of they have to go through that because we would have to find somewhere for it.
You couldn't leave it out?
I can't see how we would because of the size of it, but perhaps Dave's
that,
got
that
another...
would be my concern.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, any more on that one before I move on to the next application? So, thank you very much indeed, that's very useful. It's great when people come, because then we can ask questions. Otherwise, you know, you have to go backwards and forwards like yo-yos. So, Simeon, I believe you're here to discuss Manor Park. Please come forward. I've lost my application. And you're allowed 2 minutes to speak, if you need it.
Great. Yes, right.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. This project, as you know, is part of what we're looking at tonight. It's part of a larger project, so it's probably in its entirety is going to be end up delivering across 4 or 5 different phases due to the size of the park. From the community's perspective, it's a crucial. This tonight is a crucial step towards full accessibility for our residents. So why this project matters, the context of the project. It sits in Manor Park, which serves 2 wards equally, Old Malden Ward and Motson Park and Old Malden East. It's Kingston's largest park. It's categorised as a district park. The recent improvements we've seen in the park have seen quite a large increase in visitors. However, accessibility remains a challenge. 2 years ago, most of the site lacked any pathways, making it difficult, if not impossible, for some residents to use. And this was an all-year-round issue for some and a seasonal barrier for others. So thanks to Phase 1, which was approved in this committee a couple of years ago, 1/3 of the site, 23 of that 23-acre site has now got accessible pathways. But to really serve all the residents, including those with mobility challenges, we really need to move on to completing the full circuit of the path. I think you'd all asked about impact of the project so far, and we provided really good data that the path, Phase 1, was getting really good usage. We're seeing wider usage. I think I sent around an image of some people from local care homes being pushed around in wheelchairs, which was excellent. The project does have incredibly strong community support. It's part of a larger master plan. When you came to us and asked about the support for the project, I put up a couple of posts on social media. We had about 98 responses. 99% of people wanted the project finished. 98% they said they see themselves using the path. Finally, the project has to be done in small chunks because doing the whole park, it's a kilometre. It would cost it's going to cost about £220,000. So we said we'd do it in phases. This particular application tonight, we've gone down on because we're aware that there were other applications and the officers involved sort of reduced the size of it. So final 2 points. I'm convinced it's going to be a really good return on investment for what we put in because we are getting great usage of the first part of the project, and the community has said, and we've evidenced to you, that they will be really comfortable at using the second part of the project. And additionally, and this is a big kicker, is if we do get this funding released tonight, then we're going to do a short, sharp burst of fundraising to top it up. So we will make the NSOL money work that much harder, and we've got a good track record of doing that at Manor Park. We did it with the playground, where we started off with £140,000 from the playground budget that was kicking around, and with various activities turning to about £220,000. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Simeon. I have a question, or you want comments? Yeah, I've got a question, Simeon. How far is this section of pathway going to be in length? Because I couldn't see any.
It was 170 metres.
170 metres, okay.
And that takes you from, because have you've been in the park and seen the new path that we've had?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Have you been in the park and seen the new path that we've had put in? Okay, so this new section, it hooks off that, goes down the railway line, and sort of ends you up to where the sort of bird feeders and the back meadow is.
Right. My second question is, in the annex with the pictures, is this section of path going to deal with the muddy sections that are in these photographs? Because that's my concern, that these are terrible. It looks like a ploughed field. And obviously that's a winter picture, and it's probably better than that now. But is it going to address this part of the path?
It's going to do some of it. We've got so much mud in the park that we will be...
How much of it then?
We're going to... This chunk of...
Sorry, how much the muddy bit?
The muddy bit, well, I'd say probably about half of that pathway gets flooded at the moment. So we've got mud and flooding, and then you move into the rear meadow, which is muddy as well. So we've got mud all the way around the site, so that's why we need to keep building this pathway to create a walkable
Thank you very much. Any questions? No? Comments? Councillor Thorpe.
So I read somewhere that we have some of the lowest levels of green spaces in London, in Kingston, and this is the biggest park that we have. And what we have discovered since COVID really is how successful paths are in parks. People really enjoy them. They're very well used. This is a community-driven project. This is actually organic. It is the community that wants to extend this path. For me, it's extremely good use of money. We have extraordinarily low levels of antisocial behaviour in Manor Park because it is so busy. There are always people in there. It's always a pleasure to go around there at any time of the day. The police go in at night time. Even at that time, they don't see very much trouble. It is very well used, and I think that it's one of the best ways that we can spend our money is providing these paths so that people can use the assets in the neighbourhood. And when that is driven by the community, that is all the stronger.
Thank you. Councillor Giles.
Thank you. I mean, obviously, a lot of our parks in the neighbourhood have had a level of NSIL for the perimeter pathway, and the Green Lane Recreation Ground was one of them, coming in at about £35,000, if memory serves me right. Look, in an ideal world, all of these projects are worthy of our funding, but funding is tight. On average, in the last 3 years, we bring in less than 40,000 a year, and obviously it's only because we've had a backlog accumulate over time that we have the extra money to give. I think, whilst I don't doubt the benefit of the project, what concerns me is the costing. So far, to my knowledge, including the current budget up for grabs tonight, we'll have allocated, give or take, £375,000 worth of NSIL. And if we were to allocate this funding on top of what we gave last time, some 90,000 of that, or give or take about 24%, will have gone on the Manor Park perimeter pathway project over the 2 phases. And so, whilst in an ideal world, it would be terrific to have the entire pathway done, not just in Manor Park, but in all of our parks. Given the money that we've already put into Manor Park, which is already a higher sum for perimeter pathways than in some of our other parks, I must confess with this one, I'm struggling a little bit, purely on financial constraint.
Thank you.
Can I just correct a point?
Yeah, come in, please.
I think on the report document you've got, there was 50,000 that went into the phase 1, so that's all that's gone in.
Councillor Park.
I absolutely support this project because the Manor Park has been used both words, like Old Malden and the Motor Park and Old the Malden Road as well. Yeah, and also I am the main user. I'm using from 5 o'clock in the morning running the park. From that moment, people coming out to use that one with the dogs walking, and Saturday and Sunday is fully used by lots of activities, children's activities and other things as well. And how much they created this space for the residents, that benefit is huge. And also, I wanted to say, even at night time, even its open space is very safe. I wanted to say, because I've been walking at night time as well, that park. So I fully support to people more comfortable, safely access the park, so to complete the pathway. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Henderson.
I just want to say about Manor Park, I mean, don't think of it just as a park. This is one of our fundamental community infrastructures, part of our community infrastructure. It really is. You've got a whole host of communities within our a wider community using this, all the facilities in that park. You've got the bowling club, you've got the Shiraz Mirza Hall, where you go any day of the week and you will see a community group in that hall. I can't go into the park without someone catching my eye and saying, this is fantastic. And yeah, we have to thank the Friends of Manor Park who have taken the community with them and created an asset that our community is really proud of. So I can only but support this proposal here. It's fantastic. And thanks, Simeon, in particular. Thank you.
Thank you for coming along.
Well, thank you for everything, actually. Yeah.
Brief comments, please, and then we've got to get on to the next one. Councillor Massimi, because we have to be gone here.
Thank you, Chair. Just want to echo my colleagues.
Yet.
I think the success of this park has been in very large part thanks to the joint effort of the Friends of Manor Park, Simeon, and all the community. You know, we need to keep it up and carry on investing. This is really not an investment rather than a cost, and making sure that it's safer and more accessible to all. So, you know, I fully support this, and I know that whatever we invest is in good hand, and there's a really good joint-up community effort.
Thank you. Right, can we move on to the next, on the final application? Is there anybody here to speak on that? Oh, sorry.
Yes, Adam.
Sorry. And your name is?
Adam Brooks, Green Space Officer.
Oh, Adam Brooks. Oh, I've heard of you so much.
Oh,
I've emailed you so many
smiling,
times, but never.
Which is a good start.
Probably
for me.
met you about once. Sorry. Nice to see you again,
Just before
Adam.
we start, Simon, excellent presentation.
Yeah, so you have
I was crossing off everything I had to say. Thank
you
for
have
support.
2 minutes, Adam. Thank you.
2 minutes. So 6 Acre Meadow is a cherished natural space within the borough known for its ecological richness, cultural significance, including the link to the Mille Ophelia. In 2021, a successful NSIL-funded project restored the original boardwalk, improving access and reconnection to the community with the beautiful riverside site. Following strong support from the residents and local councillors, a new proposal aims to extend the boardwalk to create complete circular walking route through the wet meadow, making the site even more accessible and enjoyable. The proposed extension will add 85 metres of boardwalk constructed from robust, sustainable, recycled plastic materials. It will wind through the scenic wet meadow and reconnect with the Wayne Meadow path near the deer statue. There is some talk of 2 viewing platforms with benches to be included, creating resting spots and opportunities to observe nature. The circular route will remove the need for visitors to retrace their steps, making it easier and more inviting for people of all ages and abilities to explore the site fully. The design prioritises durability, safety and environmental sensitivity, ensuring the boardwalk remains a valuable community asset for years to come. It will improve accessibility, enhance visitor experience, health and well-being benefits, and greater environmental appreciations and support for the conservation efforts. With improved access, it will aid ecological management, including the control of invasive species contributing to long-term health of the meadows ecosystem. The extension aligns with the borough's wider goals of increasing access to green spaces, encouraging sustainable recreation, and promoting community well-being and environmental stewardship. I welcome any questions.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody got any questions for Adam? Councillor Henderson?
Hello. Today, actually, Councillor Heap and I walked.
We went to site visit.
Yeah, we did a walk along the boardwalk. And when I got to the end, I continued along, I hope I was on the right boardwalk, along a path, which is obviously a sort of it's a dirt track. Actually, it's quite a sturdy path. And I managed to complete a circular walk out and came out where the railway bridge is. So this proposal here, this red bit, where is it going? Because presumably it's not going along the path that I walked on.
No. No.
So is it going to create? Is it going to cut through the current meadow?
It would be an extended route. I think somewhere, Paul, in the project outlines, there's a map that identifies where the boardwalk goes, which may offer a bit more clarity on site. Is that right?
So is it going to follow the natural? Because there are a number of paths, and they've been developed over years. I've seen that, but how are you going to do it?
Oh, right. There's a boardwalk already there.
Yeah.
Plastic board, but it doesn't go very far.
No.
So is it a continuation of that?
Yes, yeah, it's a
Because then we got by
continuation of the
Richard Channel of playing fields.
Yeah, but we actually walked far more than 85
went
metres.
too far, I think.
Yeah, that could be the case. What I'll do is I'll get back to the programme manager and perhaps clarify on, I think Camson and Nassim will add, clarify the images we provided to have a bit more clarity in terms of where the boardwalk will go.
Did you want to speak?
Yes, Chair. Can I speak? Yes. Okay, thank you, Adam. Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just to answer the question you just asked. When you arrived at the end of the first section, the incomplete section, you do not go left towards the fence with the rugby field up to the bridge. You actually visualize that in the open space of the oldest meadow in the Kingston Borough, it will actually pass through the middle and connect back close to where the sculpture of the deer is in the 6-acre meadows. So it's basically to make sure that residents can enjoy the richness of the oldest meadow by being exactly in the middle of it and connect back to opposite Millais and the deer, correct? Not the routes that you have taken.
So are you going to dig up the meadow in order to put the path in?
We do not dig out the meadow as such. There will be the post for the platform that will be into the grounds, but it's not concrete over. It's basically pushed deep down into the ground to have the least amount of contact with the meadow. Basically, it's a continuation of what you've seen. You only have 2 bollards that touch the meadow itself every 5 or 6 meters in order to have the least impact, and it's fully biodiversity friendly.
From our visit today, there's lots of people, well, certainly a load of people arrived and were walking round that field area. That's where you mean, isn't it?
Correct.
Dog walkers,
Correct.
and everything.
But you are fortunate, it's dry. You cannot do this 9 months a year. This is extremely dicey, muddy, and quite tricky to go to the non-path along that fence, which you have taken. You will not at the moment cross the meadow as such. Nobody does that anyway, and it's damp usually, so you will not even dare.
But there is a meadow. There's a very open space there where they've mowed through paths and people were really enjoying that. But the bit we had to go into, we went into a little bit of shrubland with all the brambles and everything. So that's where you're going to continue your boardwalk into there.
The boardwalk is going to connect back to the deer sculpture in 6-acre meadows. It is not going to It's not going to go through the current man-made walkway which carry on along the side. So as soon as you finish the boardwalk, you do not go where you're currently going at the moment. It's not going to be on top of this. It's going to go through the meadow back to the deer. This is the drawing. This is what Adam, Elliot, and the team have drafted. And that was the original plan 10 years ago when they removed the old boardwalk, and south of the borough, because it used to be part of south of the borough, have funded half of it and were meant with the next NCL years ago to complete it. But the funding was not there because it was detached from south of the borough and became part of Old Malden and New Malden neighbourhoods. That's why they were unable to complete it at the time, if that makes sense. So we are basically topping up in order to complete that walk and not having just a dead end in an unfinished project, which has been for years.
Thank you. Any more comments? Councillor Sillett, and then, Councillor Durrant?
Just a clarification.
Well, just a question. Obviously, we haven't got money to do all the for things here this evening. If you got some of the money, can that be used, or do you need all of it or nothing? I know you've already mentioned there's a cut-down version without the viewing platforms for the time being. I know how passionate you are. I'd really love to make it happen, but we haven't got enough money to do everything. And I'm just wondering what happens if you don't get all the money?
Every little help. We can streamline the version. We can do, if what's left is 35,000 rather than 54,000, we can have an incomplete and hoping for, like Manor Park, having another phase in order to complete the path. You know, it's because we are not rich enough, if I may say, in this neighbourhood in terms of NSIL. We might just do another third of it and then wait for another round of investment next year or the year after to complete it. But every little help will be better than nothing, yes.
Councillor Giles, very quickly, please. We've got to get on to voting.
Yes, sorry, can I just ask a procedural question? When we come to the voting, are we taking them one by one in the order they're printed?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Right, okay. Any more comments? No? Paul?
Yeah, just very quickly, in terms of obviously any project that doesn't get funding, this is not the only source of income. I also manage Section 106. I work very closely with both, so if members obviously are keen on all of them, we will obviously try and facilitate making the other one happen. Okay, so it's not the end of the road.
Thank you. Good. Okay, so we're going to vote individually, and bearing in mind, obviously, we only have 140,000, and as people have said, we haven't got the money to do all the projects. So we'll start with the Dickeridge application. So I propose that we grant the application as outlined in Annex 1, which is 45,000 to the Dickeridge Park Rec application. So those in favour, please raise your hands. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. With the bits of papers. And the next one is the Malden Centre Pool Pod for the amount of, let me just read the recommended. I propose that we grant the application outlined in Annex 2, which is 39,827 spot 45. So those people in favour of that, please raise your hand. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 6.
Sorry, keep your hands up.
Yeah,
please.
keep your hands up so Alice can...
Yeah, lovely, thank you.
Okay, those against? Councillor Tracy and against?
Yeah.
Councillor Massimi, Councillor Tracy and Councillor Giles. And abstention? Me. And Councillor Park. Thank you very much. Okay, I propose we grant the application. Sorry, I didn't ask for seconded for those two applicants. For those, I'm supposed to ask for
I second retrospectively.
Thank you very much indeed. So I propose that we grant application as outlined in 3, which is the Manor Park Perimeter Pathway.
I second it.
And you second it for me. Thank you very much indeed.
Can we just get clarity on how much is left in the pot?
Well, those two, yeah.
Minus 140.
After this one, it'll be 125, it'll be 15. Yep. Okay? So, the Manor Park Perimeter Pathway, those in favour, please raise their hands.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
That's in favour apart from Councillor Giles and Councillor Tracy.
Yeah.
Those against? Councillor Giles.
Yeah.
And abstention? Councillor Tracy.
That's carried.
How many is it for? Okay, good, all right.
So, on the 6-acre meadow,
Chair, do you want to propose a partial allocation
that
or
we,
of
I was
the
going
remainder?
to propose that we deliver the balance of that,
Yeah, I suspect
which
that's probably
is around 15 grand. No, well, there may be other sources of funding. Would you want to leave it in the pot?
No, give it.
Let's have a vote first.
Yeah, let's vote to give it.
I'd personally suggest deferring that till we maybe have a little bit more money in the pot.
Yeah, so there's an option to defer the item. You obviously can part allocate. I think deferral probably makes a bit more sense.
Yeah.
And then we can
Okay.
go and explore as a potential of that amount
And where we could
plus
perhaps
what I
get some
bring in.
additional funding.
So I think if you do the motion, defer it to a subsequent committee, then that gives you the window for, because NSIL income is, I don't know when it's going to come in exactly.
Right.
Chair, just very, very quickly, I would suggest allocating that 15,000 now, because it could act as a sort of seed corn to attract further funding if they know that something is actually possibly going to happen. But I don't feel strongly about it, but that's what I would do.
Okay, all right. So I propose that we grant on application outline Alex for the 6-acre meadow the balance of the NSIL funding remaining for this neighbourhood. And may I have a second it? Thank you very much.
second that.
Those in favour of allocating this? That's everybody apart from Councillor Giles in favour? Those against? Abstain? There's only one left.
Lovely, thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. I'm sorry that I had to hurry that along, but we don't want to be chucked out. And Alex will be on my tail, won't you, Alex? Right, Neighbourhood Managers Report. Thank you, Paul. Sorry you had to wait a long time.
It's my time.
No, I was talking to Paul. Neighbourhood Managers Report. Mr. Hyde, please.
Given the night, my only comment's going to be good food, green fare. Yeah. Saturday, 11 a.m, 5 p.m. See you there for lunch.
Could you just expand on that? I've missed the invite.
Square.
Oh, Jubilee Square.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Be there or be square.
Be there or be square. And there being no further urgent items from the chair, I close this meeting at 22:10. 22:10. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, everybody, for coming.